Hello there guys and welcome to the day 15, 16, day 16. Just bear with me, it's been like 24 hours since I last did this. Day 16 epic ride home update, and I have had a good day. I started in Munich, across in southern Germany, and I have now made it to just past Charleroi in Belgium, but not quite as far as Lille in France. I am not a million miles away from the border between the two, and that's going to set some alarm bells ringing immediately, I suspect. There's not a great deal to report from today's actual ride. The majority, easily 95% of today's ride has been spent just sat plodding along German autobahns or Luxembourg motorways or Belgian motorways, and there's not really been anything interesting of note happening. But the more interesting point is the fact that the route that I have taken signals a rather large change in my planning, which I kind of feel like I need to explain to you all. Now, I've been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks in the lead up to this ride home, and even during the ride home in these daily updates, that I was headed for Caen in northern France, northern central France. And for those of you who are any good at geography or have quickly dug out Google Maps to find out where the hell I actually am, you will see that I am no more than a couple of hours away from Calais, which is one end of a rather significant tunnel that goes underneath the British Channel. Yes, I have changed my plans, and I'm no longer trying to get an overnight ferry from Caen to Portsmouth. I am now going to be taking the Channel Tunnel from Calais across to Folkestone in Kent, and I'm going to make my way through the UK from Kent, a route to be decided as and when I get there, depending on how I'm feeling, and I'm going to make my way across the southern coast of the UK to get back home to Southampton. Why have I decided to change my route? Well, it's a combination of a couple of things, really. First, when we left Switzerland yesterday, Phil and I, when we got into Austria, and my Italian 4G SIM card decided it was going to start working again because it was back within the EU roaming and all that jazz. Phil and I were discussing how I was going to get from our planned destination of Munich, assuming he could drag my sorry drowning backside that far, and get across to northern France to make my way across the channel to the UK. What my options were, where I could go from, whether it was Cherbourg, Le Havre, Caen, which was my original plan, or indeed the Calais to Dover tunnel. Now, seasoned advice from somebody who has spent a lot of time travelling around Europe on a motorbike and across the Channel as a German living in Britain. We looked at it at the time on Brittany Ferries' website, and Brittany Ferries have a monopoly over that little ferry run between northern central France and the UK. Whether it's Cherbourg, Le Havre or Caen, they are the ones that operate that line. When I had a look on their website at lunchtime, they were showing reclining seats and cabins as being available, and it was always going to be my preference. If I'm catching an overnight ferry, I want to be sleeping in a cabin. I want to get a half decent night's sleep. And the advice is, if you can't get a cabin, if you're stuck with a reclining chair, don't bother. It's not worth it. It's crap. You can't look after your gear, there's nowhere secure to put your gear, and you will not get any sleep whatsoever. Fast forward to the evening with Red Renner and Phil, and we start looking at concrete plans to book, and suddenly when their website has a proper chance to update, it's showing no cabins available, only reclining chairs. You take the advice of a seasoned traveller. If he says don't bother with that route under those conditions, sorry Brittany Ferries, I'm going to chin you spectacularly off. What I will say, if there is anybody from Brittany Ferries who ends up watching this video, your website is absolutely crap to navigate on mobile devices. I had at least 6 or maybe 7 attempts at trying to genuinely book overnight tickets with not the cheapest cabin either, to allow me to do the Caen to Portsmouth ferry overnight from tomorrow night to arrive on the morning of the 9th. Your website kept crashing, kept timing out, and kept sending me all the way back to the beginning of the process. Sorry guys, just ain't good enough in the 21st century as we are now, when most people are navigating websites on mobiles, whether it's iOS or Android. In my particular case, I come in iOS flavour. So, sorry guys, you lost a customer as a result of a crap website. So, the other aspect of it was, let's be brutally honest, the Channel Tunnel is closer to Munich. It was not beyond the realms of possibility when I left Munich this morning, and my original plan was to get to Luxembourg City, which I achieved at 3 o'clock this afternoon. At which point I decided, well, how far is it to Calais, I wonder? And Google Maps was telling me it was only 4 hours. So the opportunity of being at Calais at about 7 o'clock in the evening, when you need to be there 45 minutes to an hour before your tunnel, so that's 8 o'clock, it's a half an hour crossing. I could conceivably have been in the UK at a reasonable time by 9, 10 o'clock. Get off the ferry, check straight into a hotel, which I've booked pre-Channel Tunnel trip, and suddenly tomorrow crossing Kent and the south coast looks a lot easier. Sadly, it hasn't quite worked out that way. I have only made it as far as the Belgium-France border. Google Maps has had a few issues today with telling me whether I should go via Brussels or whether I should go via Lille. In the end, the late decision was to go via Lille, but again, I was doing 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and my backside was absolutely killing. To be fair, I have managed to cover 500 miles, including getting a little bit lost around Karlsruhe. No, Kaiserslautern. I got a little bit lost on some of the motorways. I had a choice of going round the south or round the east, and I basically picked the wrong one. Then I tried to get back on track, and I missed my turning for that as well, because I was expecting it to be a figure-8 junction like it is in Saudi, and it's not. So there we go. Partly my own fault. No, mostly my own fault. Stuff it. But the long and short of it is, tomorrow I will be crossing the channel, getting into the UK, and finishing the epic ride home that I started on Sunday, the July 16th. Now, given that I had 2 days delay collecting my bike from Salerno, and considering that today is the 7th, which was my original planned return date to go overnight on the 7th to get back on the 8th, or was it the 6th to the 7th? I can't remember exactly which. It was so long ago. I don't think a day behind schedule is actually too bad. And again, I refer you to yesterday's update video where I say that I owe a huge thanks to Phil for dragging me from Switzerland up to Munich. Originally, I was going to go via Munich anyway, but I was looking at spending 3 days making it across from Munich to Caen. As it is, I've done Munich to near Calais in a day. So plans change, got to stay flexible. Unfortunately, the key to flexibility is indecision, but do you know what? That's working quite well in my favour now. By sitting on the autobahn all day and gently plodding along, I've had no further issues with leaking oil from oil cooler lines or slipping clutches, which is always a good thing. And all she has to do tomorrow is make it back to Southampton. which I've got no concerns she's going to do. So yeah, we've pretty much broken the back of the trip. Saudi Arabia to UK is going to finish tomorrow. The epic ride home will be completed tomorrow, barring any unforeseen disasters. And that's slightly strange. I've been living this adventure a day at a time for nearly 3 weeks now, and it's about to finish. But that doesn't mean we can't celebrate it and just try and egg this out a little bit longer. Don't forget, for those of you who haven't got anything better planned, or those of you who just want a damn good day out on the bike, I am planning on taking the bike freshly serviced, hopefully fully repaired and up and running, and with some extra little trinkets and treats that I've purchased for her, which I did reveal on Twitter, or I mentioned on Twitter, but I didn't actually reveal what I bought for her, on Sunday the 13th of August. Come on down to Lumi's Cafe. I will be there mid-morning for probably several hours. I won't call it a celebration because despite the fact you're reading or you're listening about this on my channel, I don't want to make it about me. I want to make it about a community thing. It is all about bringing a community together for just for a good excuse, really. So yeah, Lumi's Sunday morning onwards. I look forward to seeing as many of you there as can make it. So thank you very much for watching. Cheers for listening to me prattle on. Thank you for all the people who've been listening to me on these daily updates for the last 2 weeks. Your support, your comments, your likes, your tweets, your retweets, your Instagram messages and your Facebook comments and likes have all been appreciated. And I'm really looking forward to a few days sitting down, feet up, relaxing, going through everything that's gone on over the last 2 and a bit weeks. This has been a hell of an adventure and one that I'm never going to forget. Thank you, everybody who's been part of the ride with me. So in my now traditional way of doing things, where are we? We're in Belgium, they speak French, so bonne nuit, merci beaucoup.